How we doing, YouTube? It's your boy Matty B, and welcome back to the channel, and thank y'all for tuning in. As always, I really appreciate you guys. Coming up this weekend, we got round 8 of Pro Motocross going down at the scenic Washougal MX Park in the Pacific Northwest up in Washington. And you guys know the lineup. We're going to talk about several topics this week, starting with the dynamic between Hunter and Jett Lawrence, and if it's going to last throughout their careers despite both of them trying to be the top dog in the sport. Then we'll go into Lucas Coenen and how I think this dude is just really trying to be just like Jett Lawrence, almost to cringeworthy levels. We'll talk about Antonio Cairoli and Ducati's debut in the Pro Motocross Championship, as well as Antonio's possible aspirations to race Super Motocross. And we even got to throw out some props to the hero that Antonio didn't know he needed. And then we got to flip the page to a bad note. Our boy AP is out for the weekend and hopefully not any longer. And what are we blaming it on? Alden Baker or the insanely long season? And finally, we'll get into some new entries in both classes for Washougal this weekend. And then, of course, we'll get into a Washougal track preview and some predictions, as well as talk about a Thursday night race where there's an awesome opportunity for privateers to make some cash while out on the West Coast. But before I do that, gotta give a huge thank you to my channel sponsors. Thank you to ASV Inventions and Sirius Studio. I've got discount codes and more info in my description. And don't forget, if you're supporting them, you're supporting me. Let's get into it. First up, we're going to talk about Hunter and Jett Lawrence and the incredible dynamic that they have as two brothers fighting to get to the top of the sport. And it's honestly like nothing we've ever seen before. We've seen the Martin brothers, the Stewart brothers, the Alessis. We've seen brothers in this sport, but I don't think we've ever seen two brothers that are this good, feed off of each other this well, and work together so well to both get better and elevate themselves above the competition. And now they've even gotten to the point where the two of them are just pretty much smoking the rest of the field. Nobody had a damn thing for these guys at Millville. They were in a completely different time zone than the rest of the field. And the question that I'm going to pose, and the question that I'm seeing people asking, is if this friendly dynamic of helping each other and working together will continue throughout their careers, and if they'll even stick together and continue riding for the same team. I mean, at this point, with Hunter getting second to his little brother Jett, you gotta think it's starting to get tough mentally. You know, as a racer, you want to be the top dog, you want to win, but by all accounts from people that would actually know, it doesn't seem like this dynamic is going to change anytime soon. Both of the boys were in it together back when they came from nothing in Australia. They've both been through the struggle, they've worked together through all of it, and they are damn near an unstoppable force. You'd be hard-pressed to find any other teammates that have ever worked together this well, riding each other's bikes on press day. I mean, as far as bike setup and team camaraderie goes, you can't find a negative about having these two brothers on board. So considering both of these boys came from eating ramen out of a hubcap in Australia, I kind of feel like the dynamic should only continue. Both the brothers seem to make each other better. And like I said about Millville, different time zone, it appears to be working just fine. So whether they stay teammates forever or not, that's kind of a different conversation, but call them a couple of vegetarians because there's not going to be any beef. And then speaking of brothers, over in Europe we've got the Coenen brothers, and today we're going to talk about Lucas Coenen, who is actually hunting down Romain Febvre for the lead in the MXGP series. But I'm starting to see some imposter syndrome out of the 96. We all saw Jett Lawrence come from 18th to 1st at Redbud and do whatever the hell this little TikTok trend is. I think I'm getting old, I'm almost 30 because I don't understand it, but literally every single video I saw of Lucas Coenen from the last GP in Finland, he was doing this stupid little TikTok dance. And I mean every single video. Maybe it's just me, but this kind of cringes me out. I mean, I get it, it's a TikTok thing, it's not something that Jett made up, but Jett did it the week before at Redbud, and then 1 week later, it's literally all Lucas Coenen is doing in the pits, on the podium, on the finish line, and more. And maybe I'm off base here, but it really seems to me like he wants to be like Jett Lawrence really bad. I've even seen him wearing the pearl necklace, which I've only seen one other dude wear in my lifetime. What do you know? It's Jett Lawrence. Like, bro, no offense, but if you're gonna have weird fashion statements, you might as well make them your own. And while we're at it, you've got the wrong number, brother. 96 is Hunta. You gotta change it to the 18. The only copycat move left to pull is to fire Myrtle. But all jokes aside, Lucas Coenen can do whatever the hell he wants because he is a bad dude, 18 years old, and in line to possibly win the MXGP championship, and hopefully we see him in America in the future as well, and maybe we'll even get a battle of the TikTok dances coming soon. But this kid really is a next level talent, and call me crazy, but I think his talent is comparable to Jett Lawrence. Up next, we got the Frenchman Tom Vialle, who's been weighing out his contract options for 2026. and he's been at a fork in the road, either stay here in the States with KTM on a 1-year deal or go back home to Europe with Honda HRC on a multi-year deal. And reports are coming in that a decision has been made. Tom's packing his bags and heading back across the pond. And I gotta be honest, I think that is a fantastic decision. Tom going balls deep into the 450 class next year would have been absolutely brutal, especially in Supercross. With all due respect to Tom, his skills in Supercross are just not quite on par with the elite guys of the sport. Yes, he's a 2-time champion, but he didn't do it off of speed and skill. He did it off of superior racecraft and consistency. And the 450 class is the cutthroat national. You need more than consistency and racecraft. You gotta be an absolute dog. So rather than stay here and just be another guy from 8 to 12, it sounds like Tom is headed back home with a really good deal for good money and multiple years at Honda HRC. So he's got himself some job security. It would have been really tough to head into a rookie year of Supercross in the 450 class on a 1-year deal, one chance to prove yourself and then you're out. And on top of all that, even the Pro Motocross Series has not gone to plan for Tom Vialle, especially when you consider his potential. And last but not least, people that would know are saying that his salary potential in MXGP would be a lot higher than it is in the 450 class here in the States. So Pepe, we're gonna miss you, but I think you made the right call. How about Antonio frickin' Cairoli? The dude is like 100 years old, on a brand new bike that's completely unproven in the States, and the dude can still come out here and get top 10 moto finishes, even while he's just here on guest appearances. Cairoli is absolutely unbelievable, a total class act, and a total badass. I know I said he was 100, but really, he's 40, and even before he came over here, I think he went 7-6 at Matterley Basin in the MXGP series. And it has been so damn rad and so cool to have him over here and to have him debuting a brand new motorcycle in Ducati. And that thing looks pretty damn good. It's been doing well in MXGP. Tony made it look good here. He claimed he was riding a stock bike, and I think Tony and I have a little bit of a different definition of the word stock. But still, he wasn't out there on some works bike, and he made it look really good. And originally, Tony was only supposed to do these 2 races, Redbud and Millville. But Vital MX's Lewis Phillips is now reporting that Tony has taken an interest in the SMX series. Only the top 20 are seeded directly into the finals for the playoffs, and then after top 20, they take 10 more into the LCQs, so you would think maybe it's 20 through 30, but usually not everybody's available, and Tony is already up to 36th in points. So if Tony does a few more races, he should for sure be able to seed himself into that LCQ race, and he's a legend. He'd be able to qualify. I sure would love to see it, and let's hope that it happens. I'll tell you one thing that I sure am glad that didn't happen, is Antonio getting a hole burnt directly through his ass at the beginning of 450 Moto 1 at Millville. He was saved by privateer hero Marshall Welton. Tony was down, trapped under the machine, and Marshall saw him, stopped, turned around, and went and picked the bike up off of the Italian legend. And as somebody who has spent 3 weeks in the hospital due to a burn, I gotta commend Marshall Welton on the incredible act of sportsmanship. Without him, Tony would still probably be laying under the Ducati. Bippity boopity, I'm getting a burn! I'm a massive Cairoli fan. That horrible accent and impersonation was just a joke, but seriously, mad props to Marshall Welton. Now, to turn the page to a negative, what a bummer. Our boy AP is out for the weekend and hopefully not any longer. He got some blood tests on Monday, and I'm in a group chat with him, and he's been pretty quiet on all fronts besides when we play on Xbox. And this just sucks, man. The dude has been having such an awesome outdoor season. He loves the outdoors way more than Supercross. If you tell this dude that they should go to Supercross only, he'll probably slap you in the face. But I think this may have been the best riding that we've ever seen out of AP. I mean, he was even almost taking it to Jett Lawrence at Thunder Valley. But when you're smoked, you're smoked. I've been there before. No energy means no choice but to pack it in. Trust me when I say, if this guy could be out there, he would be out there. But now the question I'm going to ask is who's to blame? Is it on AP? Is it the travel and the grueling 31 race series? Is it Alden Baker? I kind of tend to not want to blame Alden because he's had so many riders over the years, and it's not like this has been a common theme throughout his program. And I'll just go ahead and say it, I think it's the length of the series, the travel, all the racing, it's just insane. I don't know a single other sport where you got to be at peak performance 9 or 10 months out of the year, and you still got to be on the grind the other few months. And with the rate of attrition that we always have in this series, I think it's pretty clearly evident that it's too long, too grueling, and really not all that sustainable, but less races would be less money for promoters. Not pointing any fingers, that's just business, and I don't see it changing anytime soon, or probably ever. Now we'll jump into the action that's going down this weekend at Washougal, and we got some new entries for the weekend, Pacific Northwest National, so not everybody makes the trip, and there are also some guys from the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast that'll be on the gate, or at least trying to be. And starting with the 250 class, it looks like we've got the return of Cullen Park. I can only assume it's for super motocross points because he's getting close to being bumped out of that top 20. Then we've got Carson Mumford. He's been on the entry list for a couple weeks now, but he hasn't showed up. Maybe this will be the weekend. Then we got Pacific Northwest local Braden Spangle. He's been in several Arena Crash highlight reels. Enzo Temmerman is going to get one last warm-up before Loretta Lynn's. Austin Black, he's one of the fastest kids in the Pacific Northwest. Watched him at Big Hill Jam, and he was flying. Isaiah Clark has been in for the last couple of rounds, but I haven't gotten to mention him because I haven't really done any reports on new entries for the last few weeks, and he's my boy, so I'm throwing him a shout out. And then Leighton Smale, son of absolute legend Lance Smale. Then on to the 450 class, we got the return of the 33. Freddie Noren is back and on a Yamaha. He is split with his old team. And how funny is this? Check out the press release for Freddie and the team split. They asked everybody to refrain from making public comments until further notice. Are you guys kidding me? That's not how it works. I guess I'll be anxiously awaiting permission. Oh wait, I'm already doing it. Then we got my boy CJ Tucker on the Beta. Josh Moseman, who I believe plans on writing an MXA article between the sight lap and the first moto. And then we got some PNW locals, Ryder Fisher, Seth Crotty, Sebastian Toth, Ashton Udman, and Jonah Schmidt. And then we've got some more new ones like Ty Freehill. Brad West is back on the entry list after missing several races. The Swede Anton Nordstrom is back after blowing out an Achilles. And then we've got the Brit, Brad Todd. Dude qualified P7 at Thunder Valley. Absolutely rips and should be a solid force in the motos. And if he's smart, he should also be a solid force on Thursday night at PIR Thursday Night Motocross National. And this is a Pacific Northwest tradition. Every year, right before Washougal, they have an anniversary race. Big crowd, big pro payout, and tons of action. And here's the payout breakdown. $3,000 to win it, just over $2,100 for second, $1,500 for third, and it pays all the way to 22nd. So this is an awesome opportunity for some privateers to make some extra cash before they hit the Washougal National, especially for those East Coast guys. Gas ain't cheap, it's a long way out there, and racers race. If you're all the way out at Washougal and you're not at PIR, you're missing out. And it should be a stacked lineup. Last year it was won by Grant Harlan. I was actually planning on heading out there and covering this race, but I kind of got told that my pro motocross videos are illicit content, and unfortunately, I just can't quite make it work to fly all the way out there for a Thursday, but hopefully somebody's covering it and I'll be tuned into it. And now, finally, we'll get into our track preview and our predictions for Round 8 this weekend at Washougal. And this place is so picturesque, you couldn't find a much better setting for a motocross track. But with that being said, this place is absolutely treacherous. The shadows are so much worse than I could ever possibly describe to you all. It's like riding into a dark room and then turning the lights on and then turning them back off. Total epilepsy national. And also, it's hard and slick, gets nice and choppy, and I raced it on a 2-stroke, so if you can imagine, I was having a great time. And speaking of great times, a quick synopsis of my last trip to Washougal. Showed up with Epstein Barr, tired as can be, bike blew a radiator hose on the second lap of practice, got about 100 feet away from the finish line on a fast lap that would have got me in, and the bike overheated and shut off. Had to push it wide open through a crowd of people all the way back to the pits, and it was a hike. And shout out to the legend Carson Brown. He offered me any parts I needed off of his practice bike, but we didn't really have the time to switch a whole lot of stuff out between practices. Piston and cylinder were all gashed up, and I just ran it. Bike actually ran surprisingly well, but I didn't put in a good enough lap to qualify. Then I head to the LCQ, and right as the gate's about to drop, my bike just shuts off. Somebody had turned my gas off. I have never done that on race day in my entire life, but lucky me, gate malfunction, I turned my gas back on, had one more gate malfunction, and then got a bad start and didn't make the national. Talk about a long drive home. We had a bad time. But now, on to the track preview, out of the whoops and into the finish line, a nice little ski jump single into a sweeping left-hander. They've added some little rollers through there just to try to slow it down a little bit. A 90 to the right, and then in this section back here, we've got some switchbacks, usually kind of one-lined, a left, and then a little option tabletop on the way into this right, or you can go outside around it. another little check single, and then this section, I've seen that it's different this year. There's no little tabletop right there. They pushed the dirt up and made it a step up with the landing right there where that single was. So it should be more high speed through there. Then we've got another little option, inside single, 90 right, into a little double, wall jump, and then a step up, right by the mechanics area, wide climb, hard on the binders, without a choice, into a tight 180 to the left, and this spits you back out onto the exit of the first turn. The classic roller off the start into a 180 to the right, nice ruts, rail them if you got them. And then here we go, horsepower hill, the worst roost in moto, land that single and try to manual your way up these little rollers all the way to the top of the hill. Shadows everywhere, you can barely see, but you gotta send it. Left-handed sweeper and some more rollers up at the top of the hill. Little bend to the left, and then you step down, straight down the hill. You gotta land hard on the brakes. And then a tight left at the bottom of the hill that heads straight back up the hill. Pretty technical, sweep back to the right, and you are totally in the darkness right here. Head down maybe one of the most iconic drop-offs in moto, into then one of the tightest sections in moto. These S-turns are like trying to take a damn 18-wheeler through a drive-thru. Then a little pop double down into this pit, small tabletop into another right-handed corner. Got so many lines, it's looking like a college frat house. Out of that corner, grab some gears, and you got a sweet floater triple. You can actually get a breath. And then you got this wall jump where Deegan was jumping about 350 feet. But at least you got some sand to land in. Then you head out of that, little bend to the right that gets super choppy, but you can't let off, you have no choice. And then you got the roadside step up. Style checks if you're a sicko. I went straight air Leclerc, then another 180 to the left, and I about just cross-jumped my boy Freddie into oblivion. Sweet floater tabletop out of the corner. And then we got a little switchback in the trees, tons of shadows, super tight and super technical. By the time the afternoon rolls around, you're pretty much in Stevie Wonder mode through here. Drop down, pop a little tabletop, watch out for that tree, sweep to the left, got a little rise into this final corner. And then this is super unique. We got a full-blown loop section on a pro motocross track. You can either skim, jump, or do whatever the hell I just did. But that's a lap around Washougal, albeit not a very good one, but at least you guys are kind of getting the picture. And last but not least, I'll get into my predictions for the weekend with my failed LCQ performance playing in the background. In the 250 class, I don't care how his leg is feeling, it's Deegan's world, and these guys are just going to try to live in it. He's a West Coast kid, he's good on the hard pack, and he has gone absolute beast mode at Washougal before. Then in second, I'm going Sushi. He's been on a good streak, a few good races in a row, and he's been the only one who's kind of been able to take it to Deegan, besides Chance Hyman. Then in third, I'll go Jeremy Martin. Oh wait, he's retired. Just kidding, I'll take the hometown boy, Levi Kitchen, who grew up just a stone's throw away from this place. You'd think he'd be a little better, but I don't know that he actually likes this track that much, but I think it'll be good enough for some box. Then in the 450 class, not to anyone's surprise, I'm going to pick Jett Lawrence for the win, but I do think this is going to be the hardest one for him. I've heard comments from him in the past about how he doesn't love Washougal, but still, he's an alien, and I think he's good enough to get it done regardless. Then in second, I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb and pick Eli Tomac. I think Washougal is a good track for him, and despite the little bit of a lull that he's been in lately, I think with a chance at a win and a good track that he knows he could win at, I think we'll see a little bit of that beast mode fire. And then in third, the other Lawrence, I'm going to go Hunta, but honestly, I think I'm selling the dude short. He'll probably get second. But riders beware, if you guys can't beat Jett Lawrence this weekend, you're not beating him anytime soon, at least not for the rest of the Pro Motocross Series. Turned out to be a bit of a longer one this week, but that's all I got for you guys. As always, thank you all for tuning in, and please let me know in the comments what you think of my takes. If you agree, disagree, if I'm a cooked unit, if you want to complain about how I talk, or anything in between, I'm here for all of it. But I appreciate you guys, thanks again, and I'll catch you next time.